Hello, this is just reviewing multiplying expressions. The day 2, we are going through and we've been talking about distributive properties. So we have our algebra blocks that we've used above. We also have our corner piece that we use to represent multiplication. We know that area is represented as the length times the width. So here's our first example. We were given an x and we were multiplying it by the quantity 2x plus 2 by this binomial. And we represent this looking like the two different lengths and widths. We put anything larger than a monomial, and it can also be a monomial, but anything larger than that, in a set of parentheses so that we carry out the multiplication to the whole quantity. Now we know when we draw the picture, the whole result should look like 2x squared plus 2, 2x squared plus 2x. As our final answer here. So why does that happen? So we use something called distributive property to do that. But the visual model works each and every time here in this particular case. So here's our second one. So we have the quantity 2x times y plus 2, 2x, y plus 2. The y plus 2 is a binomial. We want to make sure that whole quantity stays together, so we're going to put it in within parentheses. And we multiply through. And in our picture, we have 2xy's and 4x's, 2xy plus 4x. It's a way that we're using just combining the terms that we see in our product. So on the back, we went through a number of examples. This first example, we're using distributive property, and it's important to note that if you have two terms inside your parentheses, you will have two terms out as a result. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 5 gives you 10. So your final answer is 2x plus 10. Two terms in the parentheses, two terms outside of the parentheses. Example below it, 3 times x gives me 3x. Notice how I've color-coded this, and color may be a good way of just identifying what term goes with where. 3 times 3y gives me 9y. I need to make this little fix here. 9y. 2 times x squared gives me 2x squared. 2 times 5y, 10y. You can see our answer, 2x squared plus 10y. They are not like terms. That's our final answer. Two terms in the parentheses, two terms out. Two terms in the parentheses, two terms out. So 4 times x gives me 4x squared. 4 times 5, 4x times 5, 20x. We could use a visual model for this example, but this example up here, because there's already an x squared, this is not really where we could best use that visual model to help us with multiplication. Okay. 5 times x squared gives me 5x squared. 5 times the 2x gives me 10x. And then we keep carrying our sign each time. 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. My final answer, 5x squared plus 10x plus 20. 2 being multiplied by this quantity, so 2 times x squared gives me 2x squared. 2 times 4xy gives me 8xy. Final answer, 2x squared plus 8xy. Two terms inside the parentheses, two terms are in my answer. And we're keeping everything with plus signs right now just so we're comfortable with distributive property. So x times x squared gives me x cubed. Okay, we're using our property of exponents here. Carry our sign. X times 3x gives me 3x squared. Carry our sign. X times 9 gives me 9x. And we have our answer up above. Last one, 2x times 5x gives me 10x squared. 2x times 3y gives me 6xy. And 2x times 2 gives me 4x. 10x squared plus 6xy plus 4x. Okay. And those are the notes related to distributive property. And expect that next thing where we use a method of distributive property with two different binomials.